Hello, 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 everybody. This is Tony with the Sublimation Zone with Subzone Inks and Sublimation Plus LV.com. Today I'm making a quick tutorial video on how to sublimate onto a 20-ounce tumbler, the 20-ounce tumblers that I offer in my store. These ones do have a slight taper from top to bottom, but they're really cool. I really like them, and they sublimate really, really well. And somebody asked me if I could just put a quick tutorial together, so I figured I'd just help them out. Figured it might help everybody out, to be honest with you. So I made a couple of these myself, just kind of explain what's going on. I've made a couple of these myself, but I've never used an actual template. So this time I said, you know what, I want to see if I can get cleaner seams. Let me see how a template works out. So I saved myself the hassle. I went to Etsy, and I just typed in, 20-ounce skinny tumbler template. And I just downloaded basically one of the first ones that I seen for the most part. So I think I paid like $2 or $3 for it, downloaded it, and this is what actually popped up. So the only issue is, okay, now the measurement is for those who do not have a template, the measurement is 9.420 with the width, the top width, and then the bottom width of the length is 8.282. However, there is a slight, temper, so to speak, or however you want to say it, taper, so to speak. I'm sorry. So that kind of changes things when you try to get your alignment up on the bottom and things like that. I say save yourself the hassle and trouble. And if you could make one, great, but just go buy one for $2 or $3 and you'll be good to go as far as how long you making templates. So, however, the only downfall is I can't see anything when I put this over my design. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna actually take my trace tool right here to the right hand side. I'm gonna select trace. I'm going to go ahead and select all of that, and then I'm just going to click right here to where it says trace. Now that should just give me a red outline. So boom, now I got my red outline. I got everything else on there. Let me see if I could erase all of this. I'm probably doing it the harder way, I'm not going to lie. I'm probably doing it the harder way than everybody else, but I'm definitely winging it. I didn't think about, this before I push record. I'm not going to lie, I definitely didn't think about this before I push record, but I figured, let me see if I could just make this happen. So now I have that. We're good to go here as far as, having this template ready. So I'm going to go ahead and put that over my design. Now it's really hard to see. See if I can make this a different color so you guys can see it over that design. So boom, I'm going to put it over my design. You can faintly see it, but it is on there. I do want to stretch out my design a little bit more so I can get full coverage and make sure that the design is fully inside that template. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to select both of those so they're both selected. I'm going to go to the top of the screen to Object, then Modify, and I'm going to click Crop. So now that gave me my template that I needed. It gave me the design in the tapered form and all of that. So the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to send this over to the printer. I'm going to flip this horizontally. I'm going to send it over to my printer. Right now I have this using an A3 size sheet. An A3 size sheet is my version of the 11 by 17. Measurements are slightly different, but it's basically an 11 by 17 sheet. So I have this ready to go. I'm going to go over to my printer. I'm going to send this over to my printer itself. I'm printing with a Workforce 7710, so I'm going to click that. Some people ask me about my preferences and my printer preferences. I'll briefly go over that as well. Basically, say you're just kind of opening up right here. You do need to make sure it's set for A3. So this is A3 type paper. I use a plain bright white paper. The settings or the quality, I'm going to click on more settings and I'm going to move it all the way to the right. I'm going to click OK. Then I'm going to click on the second tab. Deselect and uncheck the high speed. Click on the custom for color correction. Click on advanced. And then right here in the middle where it says color mode, I click on the Epson Vivid and I change that to Adobe RGB. And then make sure your gamma is at 2.2. For this one, you could see, this design has a lot of dark area into it. So normally I put my brightness at about a 5 or 6. I'm going to put this one probably around a 7 just to give it a hair more. And then I'm going to move my saturation up to about a 2 or to about a 2 or 3. So right now it's about a 3. And that should give me some pretty fairly good results as far as what I'm looking for. So I'm going to click OK. Everything should be good there on those first 2 pages. Those are the only adjustments that I make. And then I'm just going to click OK. I'm going to apply it and I'm going to send it over to my printer. So the next step right now would be I'm going to pause it. I'm going to take you over to my printer and show you guys that thing printing. Okay, we're back here at the 7710 at the Workforce 7710, printing out my design. There was a slight issue. I don't know what happened, but somehow the paper got caught up, so I wasn't able to record as quickly as possible because I wanted to fix that as it was printing. So I had to get that crease out of there. But you can see it's printing out now, so we're good to go. Just a little small delay that I wasn't able to push the record button as quickly as possible. So we'll see how that thing looks like when it's done. I think it'll look really good. It's looking good right now. All right. Okay. The cornholios. That looks good. Yeah, I don't know what happened. I think I fed the paper, at an angle through my rear feeder, and as it started to feed through, I could hear something get caught up while it was printing. So I was just trying to make sure that I didn't have to reprint that whole thing. So you could see where the print head, rubbed against the paper, and it kind of and the paper creased during the printing process. So I have some of the same issues that you guys do. I'm not perfect by no means, but at the end of the day, this part came out good. This design printed out really, really well, and I'm gonna get ready to take it over to the next step. The next step is basically I'm gonna cut this thing out. I'm gonna pause the phone again. I'm gonna cut this thing out as close to the edge as possible with my scissors, and then I'm going to show you guys how I get this thing wrapped on the actual tumbler, and then I'm going to show you how I use the shrink wrap as well. So give me a second to pause it, and I'll be right back. Okay, we are back. Basically, what I did is I have the tumbler ready, and I'll make sure you wipe that thing down with some alcohol or whatever. Get everything, any contaminants, so it's nice and clean. And then I cut out the design. I'm not too worried about the top part because all of that's going to have a nice overlap. But it's extremely important that you cut as close to the designs as possible for your seams, basically. And I know that the designs, it's extremely important to try to leave like a bleeder in between your edges and stuff like that. So that way, if you do have an overlap, there's not going to be much of the design cut off. So something is going to get cut off on this. For me, I'm going to do it to where I'm just going to hope that this bottom part right here gets cut off because there will be a slight overlap. So basically what my next step is, pretty simple. Having this on here like this, having the template makes it a lot easier as far as how it works out with it fitting around the actual tumbler itself. So that worked out real nice, nice and even, fit right there on the top, and a slight overage on the bottom, but I think overall it's not too bad. So basically what I'm going to do, the first step is I already have, this, almost ready to go. I'm just going to grab my heat tape because I do need to make sure that this is on here steady before I put any shrink wrap on it itself. So that's good to go. Now that's that. Okay. Let me grab. I do have shrink wrap. I don't have it myself. I got this shrink wrap from Jasmine Dixon. Obviously, she's my go-to when it comes to other supplies and things like that. The way I look at it, hey, if Jasmine Dixon has it, I go to her first. If she doesn't have it, then I gotta take the longer run and the longer route. So I don't know the exact measurements on these. I just said, hey, Jazz, send me some heat wraps for the 20-ounce tumblers, and she sent me a whole bunch of these, and they work out perfect. So. Excuse me for not having that information readily available. Sorry about that. So basically, what you're gonna do is you're gonna put this into the sleeve, make sure it's covered evenly. So, however, there is gonna be slightly bigger than the actual tumbler itself. So I just do the fold over method. Okay. So now that thing is good to go. All right. Give me 1 second because I got to put this down because the next step would be to use a blow dryer to get this thing to adhere and shrink to the tumbler. But I got to put on some gloves and make sure my blow dryer is ready. So make sure we're good to go. Got that. Putting on these gloves now. And basically the next step, because I'm not going to speak through this because obviously the noise, I want you guys to see it. The noise from the blow dryer is really going to take hold of the whole video. So basically what I'm going to do, I was pre-explaining it first. I'm going to, blow down this part first. So it adheres, I don't even know how to say that. Man, I'm stumbling across more. So it sticks on there better. So it sticks on there first. and then I'll just kind of, you know, make sure everything else gets shrink wrapped accordingly. So I'm gonna turn it on, and then you guys can just kind of watch how I'm doing it. Okay, that's good enough. Sorry for it being so loud. And the word that I was trying to use was make sure that it hears properly. But for some for some reason, I stumbled across my word. So this is good enough. The transfer is nice and snug on the actual tumbler. So the next step would be is obviously, you know, just make sure it's nice and cool to handle. But pretty much put it in your convection oven. So I'm gonna one last pause. I'm gonna unpause. I'm gonna pause this video. I'm gonna take you guys to my convection oven and show you my process of how I do it, and then hopefully we get some good results. So we'll see. Okay, I'm here. We're here in the back part of my office. I just have a cheapo Black & Decker, you know, a very small, this is a very small, you know, convection oven. I got it from Walmart for, I don't know, maybe 20, 30 bucks at the most. It was one of the smaller options. To be honest with you, just a history, but I originally got it to, you know, to try to sublimate these little mugs that I had. And I never really got around to using it. So I started to use it to, you know, in the kitchen to make toast, you know, pizza rolls and things like that. I may have used it like once or twice, and then, you know, these tumblers came in, so I'm like, well, I got to try them out. So it went back to the original purpose, you know. So now there's no food in there. Don't use your toaster oven or your convection oven for food. I do not recommend that. once you started sublimating with it, it's pretty much a done data, and you just want to leave it for sublimation only. So with me, pretty small, pretty basic, pretty simple. I have my heat temperature right around 400 degrees. I put it a little bit over. And then it's set for the bake, and then the option is all to stay on. Those are the only options that I have, and the tumblers I've done in the past, this is the same exact settings, and they work out really well for me. So I'm going to open this thing up. I'm just going to go ahead and slide this guy all the way to the back. That's the first thing that I want to do. Okay, and I'm going to leave it closed. So for me, I believe it's around 4 minutes, 4 or 5 minutes. So instead of, you know, obviously you guys watching this, I'm going to pause it. I'm going to let it go for about 2 minutes. I'm going to stick my hand in there, give it a rotation, and then let it go for about another 2 or 3 more minutes. So give me a quick second, and I'll show you at least when I rotate it. So it'll be about a 2-minute pause. I know you guys won't see it, but there'll be about a 2-minute pause, and basically me watching this for 2 minutes. So give me a second, and I'll be returning. Okay, we are at around the 2-minute mark. So I'm just going to reach in here, pull this thing out, and just give it a quick rotation. I have to rotate mine because it's so small, and I just want to make sure that everything is good to go. And sometimes it gets real close to those burners, so I just want to make sure it's getting good and even heat. So I rotate mine, but if you have a bigger one, chances are you probably don't gotta rotate it. So it's in there, and we'll let this thing go for about another 2 minutes, and we'll see how it goes. Okay, we're back. It's been about 4.5 minutes, give or take. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn this thing off. I'm gonna make sure that is good and off. I'm gonna open that up. Make sure you have gloves on because these things tend to get very hot. Do that. Pull this guy out. Very hot. I could feel it. You can almost smell the heat. So that's that. And I'm just gonna grab a knife really quick, and I'm gonna just do a quick cut and see what it looks like. Let's Let's see what's going on with this thing. Now, I mean, one thing that I kind of do want to recommend, sometimes these heat gloves don't work. And sometimes you may have to let this thing cool down before you fill it. But I just kind of want to hurry up and get to it and see how things go. So, let's see. Let's see what's going on. Oh, man. Okay. A couple small issues that I see already. But overall, it looks pretty good. One thing is, you could see the white lip on the bottom. I think I had the design too top heavy, but it's even all the way across, so it looks good. And then you could see where there just wasn't, even pressure on this top lip. It's not really a lip, but you could just, I guess, the transfer just didn't, grab onto the parts right there. But overall, those small minor adjustments, and you're good to go. And this is a good looking tumbler. I mean, I'm actually proud of it. I'm going to use this. This is my tumbler now. So, it looks really good. It came out really, really good. I'd say about a 9 out of 10, maybe an 8 out of 10, from the small defects. But other than that, it looks good. So it gives you an idea as far as how to sublimate onto a tumbler using your convection oven. And obviously, I'm gonna keep the mistakes on here because it's a good learning opportunity for you as well to make sure that you have your top and your bottom lined up. I mean, yeah, this is for me, so I'm not gonna complain. Nobody's gonna say anything. But obviously, if you're selling this and making it for a customer, make sure you have everything good to go. And you could see that seam. That seam looks good. It's not the best looking seam, but it's clean. I mean, one thing you have to understand is you're gonna have a seam regardless. So the best thing you could do, I recommend, is getting the template, giving yourself some space between the two edges of the design. That way, wherever your seam meets, it'll be clean. So the only part that got cut off like I expected was just this part right here. But overall, that looks good, and I'm very, very happy with it. So I hope this was informative. I hope you guys can use some of the mistakes that I made to your advantage to so you know what to look for. And then also, like I said, it just kind of provides insight to sublimating on these with your actual convection oven. So it worked out great for me. I hope this was informative. I hope it worked out. Thank you guys. God bless. Take care. Enjoy your weekend. And I'm going to end this with a Go Subzone Inc. So go Subzone Inc.